Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome. And today we're going to be talking about a question that we ask ourselves sometimes. Time to time we do this, right? Am I giving it my all? Right? Are you giving it your all? Are you giving life your all? Are you giving your job or your career or yourself your all? Your family? Are you giving it your all? That's a really good question to ask ourselves, right? That's a really good question to ask ourselves, right? The mission that we have is to be motivated to do something big with our lives, right? And now, not to say that everybody has to be an entrepreneur, not everybody has to be, the big wig of anything, but are you living up to your potential, right? Sometimes money is usually a blanket answer for a lot of people, right? Money is a blanket answer for most of us, right? I have bills, I have a family, life happens, and then you go on this detour, right? Now, I'm not blaming anybody for tending to their responsibilities. That's very important, right? You want to be able to be responsible. There's a work-life balance, correct? There's a place where you do what you need to do, as well as, to suffice your family life. But at the same time, you also want to be able to grow, right? You want to steadily grow. Now you need to ask yourself a really, really tough question. Well, will the decisions that I'm making in my life benefit me and my future plans, right? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing? Am I answering this question properly? Or am I deviating from it, right? Do the things that I'm doing align with what I'm trying to accomplish in the future? If not, then you know what you need to do, right? Your future is non-negotiable. Time is finite, right? We don't have all the time in the world to do anything. I mean, if it were true, then I don't think I'd have a podcast. I might be able to talk about betterment, but if we had a finite amount of time to live, I mean, decide when you want to get your life together, right? But, just by realizing that, yes, it's non-negotiable. Act now, right? Smarter earlier, not later, right? But you're also responsible for your best self as well, right? In other regards. Not just doing the things that you need to do or answering those questions, but overall, right? Overall, the bigger picture, you're responsible in a lot of ways. You're responsible to your family if you do it. If you don't have family, like a family to take care of, then, it's on you to just do whatever you can for yourself, right? But the problem is this. Sometimes we have, a job, right? And our job is very demanding, and we've built, some debt, or we've built some, other things that are going on, and we need to pay those things off. But you find yourself just getting by to see another paycheck, right? You're in this predicament where I do what I have to do, but I don't love what I do. I'm not happy about it. I just hang on long enough, right? Many poor decisions happen here when you're on autopilot, right? Because especially when you're miserable, misery loves company. And let's be honest with you, the house is packed when it comes to misery. There's plenty of misery to go around. And the worst thing you can do is bask in it. You need to find an exit strategy and be bold about getting out of that, right? You need to wake up. It's unfair to yourself. It's highly unhealthy, causes stress on you. In a lot of ways, you believe it or not, stress can actually cause diseases, right? Success is important to your well-being, but your health is something that also gets affected, right? Very, very, very important to think about. Bad decisions and bad habits are a very good bond, and they tend to derail you and make you a lot worse off, right? I've seen some people, go down some really dark paths that had it all together and developed a few habits, or got out of line with what they were doing, and then they started to really take a detour and things got ugly. I've been down some dark paths myself. Every day is a constant challenge to keep yourself aligned. You have to be intentional about everything you do, right? You don't want to create more problems for yourself than you already have, because we all have problems, but you don't want to add to that stack of problems. Now, just say, for instance, say you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what you want to do, right? You're not really sure. Or maybe you're good at something and that's what you chose to do, but you hate the process, right? You hate it. You're like, I just hate the process. I'm good at it, and I just assumed if I'm good at something, I should just pursue it and keep going. That's not the thing you should be doing, right? Just because you're good at something does not mean that you have to build your life around it, especially when you dread it. Like, if you really dread the process, it's no, don't do that. We've all done it. I've done it. I built my life around things that I was good at. I made money with it. I did really well, but I burnt myself out in the process, and I knew I couldn't keep up with that pace, and I hated it. You need to find something that you love the process on, and then try to become an expert on it. Money will come. Money will always come with it. And I'm not saying just to quit your job and go through with it. You need to just write up an exit strategy, right? You want to have a plan that's involved. You want to have a plan that writes it out. Like I said, be intentional, right? Slowly start to build your map out of this and into the next thing. Slowly. Because like I said, we have responsibilities. We have a life. You can't just quit. Can't do that. I mean, unless you have enough money saved and you could bankroll yourself. And, that's a pretty bold move, but you need to have a plan either way. You can't just decide that you want to spend time and just figure it out, right? You want to have some money coming in. It'll give you a little more confidence. I'm sure it'll give your spouse confidence in you too. And then you work your way through it. Imagine how much more fruitful your life would be if you just chose joy over the process instead of misery for money, right? You need to take that action. Spend your downtime making a list of things you would love to try, and maybe try executing those things. Give it a chance. Have fun with it. I want you guys to have fun with it. Don't put it like a stamp, a deadline. Like, I need to do this or my life's going to crumble. And then you're just going to choose anything. You're going to be miserable. Choose something, but exercise, use this time to exercise what you want to do, right? Make a list. Venture into that abyss of knowledge. There are plenty of experts out there that are already doing what you're curious about, and they're fully submerged in it. Pick their brains. See what videos they have. Like I always say, YouTube is an amazing source, but the internet itself, there are people that say, hey, listen, you want to start driving race cars? Well, I'm a pro race car driver, or I'm a semi-pro race car driver. Whatever it is that you want to do, there are plenty of people out there that are doing these things, and they can give you a full window into it. It's a beautiful time to be alive. There is no excuse. You have cell phones. We have computers. There's a lunch break. There's a place where you can dive into this. And I guarantee you, once you dive into the deep end, you see what's out there. You're going to become more curious. You might grab a book. You might start to subscribe to people. You might put in that Dream 100. If you're maybe doing a business and you want to surround yourself with more people in that industry, there's so many ways that you can get yourself involved in these things, right? Now, some of you are bored and you're feeling worn out, right? Maybe some of you guys are like that, right? Sometimes we find ourselves doing the complete opposite of what we dreamt of, right? Or we end up doing something because it fixes one situation, right? Sometimes we get into a job or a situation because, hey, it's a Band-Aid, or it's a job that I needed because I was broke or I was down. We're in COVID. There's a lot of things that have happened, right? So you adjust your life to this thing or this job, and it ends up becoming like kind of a career, right? You're like, well, the money's pretty good. It's a decent job. It's not what I planned on doing, but I'm doing it for now. But you don't have any plans. You've done nothing. Now you find yourself back to where you needed to be. You have some savings back, and you're like, man, I'm so bored. I hate this fucking job. Right? You're worn out because you're just tired of the process, and you're bored. Well, you didn't plan for what came next, right? You didn't plan for that. You were in a situation, you got a life vest, you put it on, you're floating. But now it's time to get on a boat. It's time to take your life back. You need to be intentional about where you're going. If you're asleep, wake up. Wake up. life is going regardless. Like, you understand, like it's going to keep going, you know? And I understand life has its ups and downs, but that does not mean you got a free ride the whole way through. You got to wake up, because if you don't, your life is over. That's it. It sucks, and I'm being a little bit of an asshole about it, but in reality, I have to tell myself these things too, because in reality, nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to wake you up and tell you have to do anything. If you want to be a bum, you could be a bum. If you want to be this, you want to be... Like, it's completely up to you. I'm just saying you got to wake up if you really want to do something about it, especially if you're feeling dreadful, if you're hating your life. Quality of life. Make the most of it. You still have to answer to your future self. And you have to ask yourself this question, right? Would they be happy with me? Would my future self be happy with my current state right now, right? Your future self, your future successful self, happy self. Is he looking at you and saying, oh yeah, or she looking at you, whoever, are they looking at you and saying, hey, you're on your way to me, you're on your path to me? No. If they're not, if you can't answer that question clearly, then you're on the wrong path and you need to wake up, or your life is going to become what it is. And there's nobody else to blame but yourself, right? A little tough love, but it comes from a good place, because none of us can escape this. We can all fall out of favor with ourselves, right? There's nothing we could do about it besides make the change, right? And listen to my podcasts. So what I want you guys to take away from this is that, I understand that, your energy is well spent and you're doing so many things in your life, but I want it to be a little more intentional. You don't want to half-ass something. Not wanting to do something in your life comes from lack of interest, right? Lack of drive will get you into a whole nother place of complacency, right? And you're just going to coast, right? Do you want to get on a boat or sailboat and just wait for the wind to take you wherever it goes? You have no control over that? What kind of life is that? You can't plan that way. There's no way that you can plan anything that way. It's unpredictable. Now, life has unpredictable things, right? But whatever you can control, you better control it. Leave that, minimize that ability or that possibility that something can go wrong or something's going to happen. That's going to happen. Storms, weather the storm. Storms happen. Winds gust. Things happen. But you still could do whatever you can to be in control of it. Sail to a different part of the sea where maybe storm clouds are. You understand? All I'm saying is do whatever's in your control. And if you're not, get control of your life. That's all I want to say today. Learn to find the love in what you do. Forget about money. Money's only going to take you so far. And if you're worried about money, then you're not maintaining it very well. That's a whole nother story, right? That's all I wanted to say today. I love you all, and stay strong out there. I believe in you. God bless.